Pat here from Dead Things. Haven't posted for a bit, but I have been busy working on Halloween related projects, and I just want to show you what I've got done. There it is. My haunt control. Dun dun dun. So you can see on this side I've got my 3-pin speaker terminals, and so they are wired for normally open, normally closed, and what this is all wired into is a Light Objects radio frequency 12-channel wireless system, and I'll post the link right about there. And then on this side is the pickaxe. And so how I have this wired in is that B0 through 7 are outputs, and on the particular pickaxe unit that I'm using, which is an 18M starter kit, I believe the product number is CHI030, and it's available from a number of suppliers. I got mine from SparkFun. So anyways, what these represent here are the outputs that are driven by a Darlington driver. And what that allows is you can switch items that are above logic level. So you can, in this case, I'll be able to switch 12-volt DC relays. And then down here, what I have is wired in pin C0 and C1. These are inputs, are going to be designated as inputs, and they are also ADC inputs. So I can put things like, well, in case I've got a PIR sensor, or I could use a rangefinder or that type of thing. And then I've got C3 and C4, and I use these because they are a serial in and a serial out. And I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe that's how you can control other pickaxes. So I figured that would be a good thing. I'm going to show you what's going on here on the back. So you see all of the B's come into this side of this, which is the Darlington driver side. And you can see I've got these terminal blocks, and I also soldered in terminal blocks on the underside. I couldn't figure out any other way to do it, and in the data sheet for this unit, it shows it as you only have one terminal block, and then you solder in to the other corresponding side. So you'd have a terminal block along here, and then you solder in into this. Yeah, that didn't work for me. So what I had to do is put one on the top and then one on the bottom. And then they're blocked in here, but they are also held in place by a bit of what the heck is that stuff called? You know what that stuff is called? This stuff. Yeah, that stuff right there. So this is a Darlington driver. That's the pickaxe, and that's the Darlington driver. So what this allows is me to switch those 12-volt DC relay units that I built there, and I'll show you those again in a moment here. As well, you can see that we've got a white wire coming out of the C0 and the C1, and that goes into here. So basically, the black and the red are the power source, and then the white here is the actual signal. And how I wired that in was, and I don't think you can see it, but I've got 2 of those header pins like you use in servos, and soldered them in there, and then just soldered onto a header pin receptacle there. And then that is the Light Objects. So it's got normally open, normally closed, and then common in the center. So you can see black, white, and red all the way down on each side. Currently, right now, I've only got, I believe, 4 pneumatic props that I'm using this with, but as you can see, I can add a lot more. Right now, I've got 4 motor props, coffin banger, grave grabber, that type of thing, and I can add additionals from there. So, and that's where I'm keeping. I got a little bit of Velcro on here so I can keep my this little unit, the wireless remote. Always make sure and have it there. And then that is the where the power supply comes in, going to the light objects, going to here, going to a 5-volt regulated supply into this side, and then 12 volt into this to switch the unit. And you have to remove a little resistor here, up here, if you want to switch these and have them both, you know, different voltages. So interesting little thing, little tidbit. That is a 10 volt DC, 0.65 amps or 650 milliamp wall wart. However, when I put my my multimeter on it, it actually reads 13.5 or 13.9 volts. And I was actually using one that said 12 volt DC, and it was almost 17 volts. So I went online to look that up, see what was going on there, and what they said is that it was that is the rating that it gets when it is under load. So now another interesting thing is that typically on any type of cordage that I've ever worked, where you have a shielded center and then a just a sleeve of wires around that shielded center, the shielded center has been positive and the unshielded sheath has been negative. Not in this one. And I kind of found that out the hard way, because I almost cooked that. I got the magic blue smoke, but it's okay. It didn't. I caught it before I think it fried too much. And I've run it several times and had it plugged in for a while, and I'm still getting only the 5.2 volts I'm supposed to get at this point. So, lesson learned: always take a multimeter to this stuff. Should have realized that from my my musician days. We almost cooked an entire PA system because a guy wired a 220 circuit wrong. He had it wired in, instead of the two legs being 110, one of the legs was 220, and luckily we only fried our lighting rig. We didn't fry our amps, so it was only a $500 touch instead of a $5,000 touch. So this goes to show, use your multimeter. So I'm going to download a program into this and show you how it runs. Okay, so I'll show you what I've got happening here. I've got the B0, the B1, and the B2 wired into my hacked power bars. And I don't know if I've shown, I think I have, but basically it's a power bar that has a 12 volt DC switching relay, and it switches up to 120 volts. And so basically it's a single pole double throw relay. So on one side of the double throw, I've got the hot leg split. So when it switches, it establishes continuity on that hot leg. The other side of the double pole double throw, I've got it wired up to a RCA plug from a DVD player. And so what that is switching is one of those, which is that 50-second USB sound recording playback module from Electronics 123. There's the thing right there. So on what I've done is I've cut the switch off of it, and I've wired in an RCA plug, and that then plugs into there. And so it acts just like a switch. When this thing closes, it just acts like this switch, and you get playback. So also I've got a PIR sensor right there, and that is wired into C0. So one side is a positive, one side is a negative, and the center is the signal. So what I've got here, I downloaded a program, and it's a random sequence. So it's going to go through its sequence and generate a random result. And I've actually got it set up for 4, but I didn't wire in for things. So basically what it's going to do is going to randomly turn on 1 through 4, and it may turn on all 4 and it may only turn on 1 or any combination thereof. And I've got that to run twice. We'll see if it does. I take no responsibility, or not responsibility, I take no credit for writing this code. I did not write this code. Steve-O wrote the code. Thank you, Steve-O. Steve-O's been absolutely excellent with me. He's I was expressing a lot of frustration at the coding aspect of the pickaxe. I mean, I get them, I get what they can do, but I just couldn't get anything out of them. And Steve-O spent a lot of time with me, taking me through coding, how coding works, why, and the whys and the whats, and how to make things happen. And so, I really appreciate his help with me. And I asked him about random, and he sent me this code. But I had to do a bit of modifications on the code. It didn't have anything for the PIR, so I had to put that in there. And as well, it wasn't doing what I wanted. Now, I never told Steve-O what I wanted to do with the random, but it wasn't actually fully switching the relays. So I went on to the pickaxe forum and thought maybe I had the board wired wrong. But basically, Hippie came along, and Hippie's one of the guys on the forum. He's a senior member, and he basically told me what I was doing wrong. Had to add some pause times in there, and so I've got a functioning program. Sort of. There's still some tweaking. I'm not sure if this is going to show you that, but I'll show you what it's doing so far. Okay, that's enough of that. So basically, there's a couple of things that are occurring here. I'm going to try and get some good lighting so I'm not so washed out. But basically what it is that the PIR is not functioning the way I want it to, and Steve-O told me that. Steve-O said that he had a lot of problems with the PIRs. They never worked for him. I decided to try them just to see what they were like, but I'm seeing that I'm kind of maybe getting the same type of result as he was. It seems very inconsistent. Sometimes it'll trigger, sometimes it won't. And so, and then that may just be a programming thing that I can go in and do something, but somehow I think it's inherent within the system. So I may actually get a range sensor from SparkFun and get that in there instead. He said he had a lot of success with those, and they aren't really that expensive. The other thing is that the 50-second USB runs for 50 seconds, and you can't shut it off. Once it goes, it's on. You have to actually either let it run out, or if you had the switch in there, you'd have to hit the switch again to turn it off. So however I get this coded, as far as my times, it has to reflect what time I have on that card. So, and I'm not sure if I want these things running at a minute at a time or 50 seconds at a time. So I may play a little bit with that and see what I need to do with that, you know. Anyways, that's kind of where it's at. Again, I want to say thanks to Steve-O and to Hippie for helping me out. I could not have gotten this far without their help, so I really appreciate that. And thanks to everyone who tuned in and watched this, and we'll talk to you all later. Take care.